to the Just Begin podcast. It's Melly here. This is the first podcast episode of 2022, and now we're going to do video format, and it's going to be really fun. And today we have Dorian Ash. He's
Hi.
been on the podcast before. For those of you who don't know, he's my boyfriend, my partner in life. We've been together now, it'll be 4 years this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has played a big role in Just Begin and is constantly like giving me advice, and he's like in the behind the scenes. And now we're gonna like kind of co-host this podcast together, and I'll still continue doing solo episodes, and he might even do some solo episodes as well, because he has a really cool, interesting story as well, and knows a lot of cool people, and it's gonna be fun and be cool.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time with it. Yeah, like Melly said, I've been doing creative work for a while. I specialize in photography and videography. I do some design work as well, but really video has been like my main focus. I really love doing like artistic photos to, you know, have it become art, and a lot of landscape stuff and stuff like that. So that's on the photography side. You know, I take pictures of people as well, and brands and all kinds of different stuff. I've done everything all over the map in terms of industries, people, products, for the last 4 years, basically, as long as we've been together. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's interesting because, you know, we both kind of started out in marketing and working with people. I was doing sales, I was doing social media marketing, and just trying to figure myself out, but ultimately picked up a MacBook, started figuring out how to edit with the help of a friend of mine, and then eventually picked up a camera and developed just this whole love for creative work.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's been fun. I've grown a lot and learned a lot, met a lot of really awesome people, and it's taken me some cool places.
Yeah, right when we first started dating, when we met each other on Bumble, and I remember you just got your camera, like, I don't know if I'm being wrong, but like that week.
No, yeah, it was literally like when we met, like that was right when I really started to change a lot of things in my life. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's weird how the universe kind of brought it all together in one time period.
Yeah.
But it was a beautiful time. It
Mm-hmm.
made me who I am today.
Yeah, it was cool watching Dorian, like the episode, what this episode is titled, is he didn't necessarily go to school to be a videographer, photographer. You just kind of really learned on the job. And I feel like with the opportunity you had, it was like low-key like an apprenticeship of like, you weren't under anyone though about, I mean, you were learning from Dar, which is one of his best friends, who's a super skilled videographer.
Yeah.
And he helped you from time to time, but you just kind of like threw yourself in it.
No, yeah, I mean, Dar played a big role
Mm-hmm.
in how I developed and became, you know, who I am in the professional field of creative work. He really like helped me kick off everything and taught me like the core basics, and was always there to help with anything. And, you know, I think that's huge. If you like, that's obviously, it gave me a huge advantage. Like he has been, you know, he had been working as a videographer and a creative for like 3 or 4 years before I started doing it. So he had a lot of experience, a lot of insight, and it definitely, it's an advantage to have someone like that to help you to help guide you and teach you the skills.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that it's necessary, but if you do have someone in your life that does something that you want to do, that's definitely the first place you should go.
And it doesn't hurt to, even if you follow someone online and they're doing what you want to do, you know, try reaching out. Maybe they have the time to kind of mentor you for a bit, even if it's just like a month or a few weeks. You never know. Just putting that out there if you ever want to reach out.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Even to either of us, you know, if we can make some time for it. When we met, I was running an event business, event planning, but I also was working in marketing. Events and marketing go hand in hand. So, okay, events and marketing go hand in hand. And so I had been working in my parents' marketing business, which has been running like my whole life. I've always been in marketing. So that's why when I met Dorian and he said he was in marketing, I was like, oh, perfect. We're going to understand each other perfectly. And so with the marketing business, I started with my sister, an event planning company that was also catering. And that was what really showed me a lot of success. And it was really fun. But it got to a point where it was really stressful. And I realized that it's not necessarily my passion. Like, I kind of reached the top of the hill and I was like, okay, I want to do something else. And so after doing, you know, the events, when I met Dorian and got into his world, I was like, oh, I actually really enjoy this side of marketing, not so much the traditional side of marketing that I was doing, which I'm not saying that one is better than the other, but I kind of did a little bit of both. Pause. Is that a knock on the window?
No, it's on the door.
Chloe,
we're busy.
We're in the middle of something. God, it scared me.
Yeah, I knew it was her. That's why I was ignoring it.
I thought it was her, but then I was like, it sounds like it's coming from the window.
No.
Okay. What I was saying? I was saying like social media. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try to pick back up where I left off.
Well, let me just ask a question and then can kind of pick it back up.
That.
So you got into like stuff like website design and like graphic design work and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So what was your, like, how did you start that? Like, how did you start learning? What avenues did you go to pick up that skill?
I think I wouldn't say the word easy, but I was able to like capture those skills pretty quickly because I don't know, I felt like everything that I've done in life, of like all the businesses, all the different things that I've been through, I've always been like self-taught for the most part. And like I was like, I can do this, and it came like second nature really, when especially branding and logo design. I just kind of was messing around, working on it, and what I did was, since I was already like starting a business and helping, first for me, I was learning how can I do it for myself without having to pay. So I was like, let me just try it out, and then maybe I can get into this at some point. So I just, I learned on Canva, on there. And then my sister was already doing graphic design, and she has always been pretty skilled when it comes to like Adobe software. So I kind of have learned from her. And when I was in college, I did take a graphic design class one time, and I hated it. Like, I hated it so much, and I almost failed it. So it's kind of funny that I even do any graphic design because I hated the class, and it was just like, it was very traditional graphic design, and just like, which, no hate to that, but it wasn't my vibe. Like, what I specialize in mainly is like, your branding, what is the message, what do you want to convey, and like really showcase the colors and come up with a cool, just whole brand identity. And then when it comes to websites, I needed a website, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna learn how to make a website. So I learned how to do it. I played with multiple different softwares, Wix, Squarespace, WordPress, all the different things. And then you on there, it's like, I feel like when you learn anything, you just have to put time into it, and then it'll be easy at some point.
Yeah.
Like, I look back on some of the first websites I made, and I was like, hideous. But in that moment,
same with what I started out with videos. I was looking through just a couple of days ago, like videos that I did in my first year, and I'm like, holy shit,
I know, and I'm like,
terrible.
oh my
But
God. I'm like,
I thought it was super cool and dope at the time. Like, I was like, man, I'm impressed with myself.
Yeah, I'm like, someone paid me for this. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is hideous. But I've fixed that since then. But I feel like a lot the best things that you can do is just honestly even if you are not starting a business per se, like, you don't need a website, even though I think every business does need a website. You can just like create one for free. Like, don't even, if you don't have a domain, don't do it. If you feel like you want to learn how to make websites, I would just log on to like a platform like Wix or Squarespace and just make one. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, you can just pretend a business, and like maybe like just a case study. Like, you want to be a website designer for, let's say, like wellness brands. So why don't you just make a fake wellness brand, come up with a fake name, then you could showcase that you've done branding and you've done a website, and you can say like, here's just a portfolio of what I do. And I would just kind of from there just keep creating those in those different industries, other websites and branding. Because I also did that myself, of like just always having like some logos for this style, or if someone wants more like moody, or, you know, like the typical terracotta colors I was really in like 2 years ago, always having those like readily available. So when someone approached me that they wanted a logo or a brand design, that I kind of already had some stuff to show if I didn't have that many clients.
Yeah.
Where we're Dorian, it's a little different because for videos you need people, but you could still make videos even if it's yourself.
You can make videos of yourself.
Yeah.
You can make videos of, like, I don't know, cars or whatever, like just different, like there's a ton of different stuff. Pick your favorite company or your favorite product and make like a commercial of it.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, just like practice. And you know, I was in a situation where I was working for a company and they fed me work, so it was a little different, like just in terms of getting clientele. Like, I had people selling and I had a couple of my own clients, and it was like, you know, the work was there, and I was just like, it was just a lot of repetition and traveling around, meeting all kinds of different people who did all kinds of different things: real estate, insurance, CPAs, man, everything, like so many different business people.
You really got to dive into it, where some people can want to start a new passion or just like a side project, and then when you have your actual job in the way of that, I totally understand, like, oh man, I don't have time to do this because I have another job and you have something going on. For us, it was like a different situation, because for Dorian, that was his job, was literally learning how to be a better editor, videographer, photographer, and constantly being dived into a new project constantly.
Yeah, for sure. And if you aren't in that situation where you have that blessing of work like already there, I mean, you just have to go out and get it. And like I said, practice, make videos, and have something to present. And go out and find people, go to events, go to conferences, go just out in the city, wherever you live, and meet business owners. Any business I walk into that I feel like I'm talking to an owner or a manager, like I'm always bringing up like, hey, I do videos, photos, all kinds of different stuff. Let me know if you need anything, get the contact. There's ways to do it. And, you know, it definitely makes it a little easier if you're, say, like for videography, photography, if you like partner with a marketing company or a PR company or something like that, There's tons of them. I mean, everyone's doing that
Yeah.
in 2022. Everyone and their sister has a marketing company. So go out and find someone like that. Likely they have a couple clients, and see if you can get involved, be added onto their packages as an option. It's a great upsell, and people love it. Like I really like, because I was going out to people, spending 2 to 3 days with them, and like really diving in with people, getting to know these people, getting to know their brand, their business.
I always tell him he was a psychologist as well.
Yeah, and that's one thing I did take away. I went to school for, I didn't even mention this, I went to college for 3 years and dropped out. But the things I did take away from school were from psychology classes. And I guess, that was basically the only value that school brought me. Other than I met Dar at school, and he ended up teaching me, the basics of everything I do.
I feel like all of those experiences like led up to something, in the bigger scheme of it all. And like, what I was mentioning about psychology, I actually read, I don't know, maybe I read it or it was a TikTok, but someone like asked like this very successful business owner, I can't remember, it was a woman, I can't remember her name, and they asked her like, if you can tell anyone the biggest tip what they should learn, and she said that the number one thing that people should learn is psychology.
Yeah, I think that's huge.
Plays
like
a huge role in every aspect of business, and I was like, that is so true.
For sure.
Like,
and that's just always been
1000%.
like, that's always played into, even before college. Like, I've always just been a very observant person, and like very just interested on how people think and how their minds work. So it's kind of like a lifelong study that I think everyone needs to be observant of and be aware of, because if you just go about life and don't pay attention to that stuff, you can easily miss things and be manipulated by things, and just a lot of stuff. I think it's really important to understand how people think, why people think the way they think, and all of that. I think it's huge when it comes to,
especially in like this creative space, just because we work so much with people constantly. Like what we both do is we're back and forth with a person, and either with him it's you're physically there, you're filming them, you have to hype them up, get them excited, make them follow the script or whatever the production is. And like for me, I have to go back and forth with a client, either if it's like their brand, which is like their baby, and I have to make sure they're happy with it. Is this representing you? I need to get to know the person, and I like will do a deep dive on that person, like look into other things. What are their interests? What do they like? Because it all plays like a huge role in the whole feel. Of the brand.
You have to
like,
get
I
to know.
have to really get to know the person.
For sure. And for me, it's like down to like the music they listen to and their vibes. Like, just like that plays a part in videos too. It's like you have to capture who they are in a creative way and display it visually, audio, whatever, however you say that, audio visually, like, it's like everything. It's a big puzzle that you got to put together based on the person or brand or business that you're working with.
Yeah, I like to say it's like baking a cake, and we're getting all the ingredients together until the cake is done. And so that's how it is.
Yeah.
And like what we both do, there are times that we'll work on projects together, because luckily enough, what we do goes hand in hand as well. So there's a lot of like, if I'm doing a website and this person actually needs they don't have any personal photo branding for themselves, like, hey, Dorian's here and he could do it, and then perfect. And back and forth, if he's working with someone who has a brand but they don't even have a website, or like they don't have a full brand identity yet, he can bring them back over to me, and we just kind of like go back and forth.
Yeah.
So that's really another good benefit between us.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the work is we can just bring it back into each other.
Yeah, I mean, so much of like your professional life can just be based on, your experiences and connections in your personal life, and just who you know is a massive part of it that you can't overlook. Like, it's more important than a degree 10 out of 10 times. I don't care what you do. Even if you're a doctor or a lawyer, who you know is going to be more important. Like, that's going to get you more places. That's going to get you in the places you want to be. And it's been a huge part of why we've done so well. And I mean, shit, it's crazy. Like, I really look back and think of how many different people I've been in the room with, and some of the people I've been in rooms with, it's crazy. I never would have thought that I would be hanging out with some of these people.
Yeah.
And it's just based on connections. Mm-hmm. I dropped out of school. That school had no factor on this. Mm-hmm. You can just go out into the world, get into the right communities and the right networks, develop your skill set, be really, really good at it, and you'll win. Mm-hmm. And be a good person, of course, and have good ethics. But you'll win that way every time. Mm-hmm. And it's not easy. It's not like it takes a long time. We go through ups and downs today. Like, doing creative work is a challenge. It's a challenge when it comes to building that network. It takes time. It's a challenge when it comes to knowing what to charge. And
that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's other, like, I'm just covering everything. It's just like, there's a lot that plays into it psychologically and emotionally. You have to be ready for it. And, you know, I just think there's a lot of value in that for you as a person. Like, and the thing is, if you're going to do creative work, you like really have to love what you're doing. Like, if you start doing something, like, say you sit down and you get Adobe Premiere Pro, and you start editing videos, and you learn the basics, and you're doing it, you give it some time, but it, like, if it doesn't feel good and you're not enjoying it, like, if it's not like it's challenging, like, there's always going to be challenges. If you're not challenged, then that's like you're not doing something right. But like, if it doesn't feel good to you and you don't enjoy, like, the end product of, holy shit, like, I just made this really cool video, then don't do it. Like, it's not for you. And
definitely takes a lot of hours. And
you have to love the whole process of it. And yeah, I don't know. There's just so many different, like, avenues you can take that you have to, like, if something isn't feeling right, you have to explore other avenues.
Yeah, and I think that can also lead into, I feel like whatever you do, I'm someone that has a lot of interest, and I'm constantly, like, trying to learn new things and figure out just different ways of what I can do career-wise. Like, Just Begin here, I started Just Begin magazine, which is a digital magazine. As if you're listening to this, you know what it is. And so if maybe you didn't even know that I was doing websites, and then I do, logo and branding design. And so the reason I really learned how to do those things was with Just Begin, because I knew I really wanted to do Just Begin, but I didn't want to outsource making websites or anything. I just kind of learned, I had to teach myself. And I feel like it's okay if you have a lot of interest. I was actually having a conversation today with someone earlier, and she was saying how, like, she has all these different interests and different career paths, and she's like, I literally have had like 7 different careers, and she's 27 right now. And so I think that's funny, because I think, like, that's totally okay. If you, let's say you're an attorney right now and you say, I actually want to, I think I want to be a photographer, I think that's okay. And you could totally do that, because in today's society, everyone has so many interests, and there's so many ways to become, like, almost like an expert at things, truly. as long as you put time into it and really commit. And so, yeah, it's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, you could see it from both ways. I would argue you need to really master one thing. You can do multiple things, and I know a ton of successful people that do multiple things, but like you really have to have one thing that you really master. And you know, and it's tough. Like I do multiple like photo and video are 2 different things to master, but you know, I feel like I wouldn't say I've only been at this for 4 years. I wouldn't say it comes naturally to me. Like I'm quick with it and I enjoy it. I wouldn't say I've fully mastered it, but it's been a main focus of mine for the last 4 years, and it's continuing to be. And there's always other, you know, I'm hopping on this and, you know, gonna be involved in Just Begin more, and you know, I'm picking up other things, but my main thing is always that video, photo, production, and yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Okay.
Not to start an argument. I'm just no. I know. I'm just. I know you're not saying. I get what you're saying.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I think we kind of covered majority that we could on this topic. Like we said,
if you want a place to just begin, go to YouTube and type in tutorials on whatever you want to do, because I mean, besides my friend Dar, that's how I picked up a lot of stuff when it comes to operating a camera, little like specific things on Premiere, with editing and all kinds of stuff. So YouTube has so much information. You can learn a ton. And I highly recommend just explore different creators in your field and find good tutorials, and you'll learn a lot that way. Just run through a tutorial and do it as they're teaching you, and it's like going to school.
I totally recommend Skillshare. That was a great platform that I used to learn a little more on the website design process and the back end of things. So I totally recommend that website. And yeah. And to constantly, I feel like, to just be open to learning different perspectives, different industries, and just learning from people and their experiences. And I think that's all there is to it. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, there's tons of great resources, and
podcasts, YouTube.
Yeah,
social media, TikTok.
Melly brought it up earlier, but don't sleep on like reaching out to people. Like there's and Chris Doe comes to my mind. Shout out to Chris Doe.
Amazing.
Like this guy has almost 1 million followers on social media, and like I'll repost a piece of content from him or whatever, and it's like he's responding within like 2 minutes. There are really good creators out there that are very on their social media and are reachable. Like that's what they do. Like he is very educational content, and he is like on it. He is on a mission to help people.
Yeah.
You got to find people like that, because there are people who have followings like that you'll message 100 times and you'll never hear back from them. But there are also people like Chris that they'll message you back right away. It just depends. You got to find the right people.
For sure. And he has a lot of valuable content on his account. And yeah, I just feel like just constantly take in, resources like that, reach out to people, be open to learning other perspectives and other people's, how they learned their specific niche, industry, career, whatever that it may be. And yeah, we'll continue doing more of these episodes.
If you have any specific topics that you'd like us both to cover on these kind of segments where it's just us, leave comments, let us know what you want to hear about, and we'll do our best to answer and give you insight.
For sure. And definitely check out justbegin.com. It's justbeginmag.com. And our Instagram is Just Begin Mag, and we'll be releasing our first 2022 edition in March. I haven't released a date yet, but it'll be in March. And I guess I didn't cover that in the beginning because I haven't spoken to you guys since December. But I have shared online that we're going to now switch to seasonal issues, no longer monthly issues. And that was simply because for our sanity. And I was doing a magazine every single month that was 100 plus pages. And I'm happy I did it. It really got our name out there. And the readership was so high. But I feel like it's time to change things up. And we're going to do seasonal issues, and in between then you'll find a ton of content on our website, on social, and we're going to do some virtual and in-person events this year that I'm really excited about, that they'll be announced soon. But yeah, check us out, and thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe.
Appreciate it.
And if you could leave a review, that would be amazing, especially on our podcast, and rate and review it. And thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, night. Love you.
Peace.